Yes, we're going back to that weird point in time when even Disney Pictures themselves had to bend over backwards and kiss that Adam Sandler ring. Because the movie we're watching today is a joint venture between Happy Madison and Walt Disney Pictures with Adam Sandler's Bedtime Stories.
From Walt Disney Pictures.
Last night I told my sister's kids a bedtime story and it came true.
This is gold.
Yeah.
He may have found a way
I got a new story I want to lay on you.
to solve his family's problems forever.
How can I ever thank you?
I'll take $100 million.
But there's no telling
Then an angry dwarf kicks him.
how the stories are going to end. Every day is a new adventure.
Don't you think we should get out of this rain?
What rain?
Oh, shoot! Where did that come from?
I don't know. Isn't it amazing?
Oh, that's not the ending.
What do you mean?
Somebody threw a fireball at Skeeto.
You want me to catch on fire?
Bedtime Stories.
Now, despite this being a Happy Madison movie with Adam Sandler in the lead, and it definitely has a lot of Adam Sandler stuff that you typically expect in one of these kind of movies, including the cameos from Sandler's comedian friends like Rob Schneider and the guy from Grandma's Boy, and even Nick Swartzen. Despite all that, it feels less like a Happy Madison movie and feels more in league with a bunch of other mid to late 2000s live-action Disney movies. The movie it kept reminding me of, and it's simply because I reviewed this movie like a year or two ago, it kept reminding me of Old Dogs. You know, it's one of those movies where it's like, oh, it's just so gosh darn wacky. It's one of those kind of live-action Disney movies where it's relying solely on, oh, it's just such a cute and wacky premise. You just have to love it, and you're going to bring your kids to go see it, and they're going to love it. It's like if you took that kind of movie and then you mixed it with one of those like whimsical fantasy family films from the like 2000s, like say Night at the Museum, where it's just, you know, such a whimsical and creative premise and we have a bunch of crazy special effects stuff going on. It's like if you put those two movies together and yeah, you got Bedtime Stories. Hotel handyman Skeeter Bronson, played by Adam Sandler, gets an unexpected surprise when he discovers that the tall tales that he's been telling his niece and nephew are somehow coming true. Hoping to make the most of this mysterious phenomenon, Skeeter spins one outlandish yarn after another, but the children's unexpected contributions to the stories turn Skeeter's life upside down. Now, while the movie does have a 6 out of 10 on IMDb, it has a 27 out of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 33 out of 100% on Metacritic. So, yeah, it kind of paints a picture of what we're in for. The movie is about Adam Sandler, who plays a guy who's been working at this hotel for over 20 years. And it started off as his dad's hotel, which was just, you know, a small little hotel, a little mom and pop place. And then eventually it got bought out by a conglomerate. And so now Adam Sandler is working there as a handyman. The guy who's running the hotel says that he wants to create a new hotel with a theme. And he's putting it in the hands of, you know, his second in command, who's Adam Sandler's rival, played by Guy Pearce of all people. Just keep that in mind. You go from Memento and LA Confidential to Bedtime Stories. That's what they call slumming it for a paycheck. And of course, Guy Pearce is basically like every preppy douchebag that goes up against Adam Sandler in one of these kind of movies. So yeah, it's Guy Pearce versus Adam Sandler who are in competition with each other to try and come up with a theme for the guy's next hotel. So while that's going on, we then get to where the bedtime story aspect comes in. Courtney Cox plays Adam Sandler's sister, she's like a health nut, which is a gag they run into the ground. She doesn't let her kids watch TV or play video games, and she doesn't let them eat anything with gluten in it. The point is, she's going to be gone for a week on business, so she wants Adam Sandler and a friend of hers to take care of the kids. And of course, that friend, who's played by Kerry Russell, is obviously going to not like Adam Sandler at first, but gradually she's going to be swayed by his Adam Sandler charm, as it were. But since the kids aren't allowed to watch TV, which, by the way, that would not be a thing nowadays. Nowadays, what parents or babysitters or whoever would be watching over the kids would do is they would go to the smart TV, turn on YouTube, and then just start playing a loop of those 50-minute, terribly animated Wheels on the Bus videos, and the kids would be out, just totally zoned out, because apparently babysitters and parents just love putting their kids in front of that kind of crap to shut them up. Since this came out in 2008, long before that kind of thing was a thing, and this is a Disney movie, Adam Sandler has to tell the kids bedtime stories, because they even try to like tie that in at the beginning with narration from Adam Sandler's dad saying that he used to read his kids bedtime stories to make them go to sleep. So Adam Sandler tries to pick up the habit and tries to tell the kids bedtime stories. Usually what he does is he tells stories based on how much of a loser he is, and then the kids will step in and then say, oh, no, then this thing happens. And it'll usually be something whimsical and fantastical, and sometimes it even works in Adam Sandler's favor. Stories include one that's based on like a fantasy, like, Knights at the Round Table type of scenario, one where it's an Old West theme, one where it's set in like ancient Rome, and lastly, one that's basically just a big Star Wars parody. Long before Disney got the rights to Star Wars. And all the stories are supposed to be based on Adam Sandler, and basically it's one of those things where you see everyone's dressed up. They're supposed to be playing the same people, but they're all dressed up as different characters in these scenarios. It's one of those kind of things. And since the kids somehow have the power to control what happens in real life and what happens in the stories, that's the reason that it comes to life the next day. And why they come to life exactly, I don't know. They never really go into any explanation about that. They just kind of want you to accept it. I would say it's kind of like Click, where it's like, oh yeah, magical remote. Why is that happening? Well, it's the whole reason the movie exists, so just go with it. But even Click is more watchable than this movie. It's not just that they come true, it's also that like, oh, it happens, but only kinda, sorta, not really. Like for example, at one point the kids wish that gumballs would rain from the sky. So what happens is the next day, he's under an overpass and there's a gumball truck that crashes and the gumballs come raining down upon him. So that's what happens. Or another part where Adam Sandler thinks that he's going on a date and the kids say, oh, Abe Lincoln's gonna be there. And what happens is a penny then falls down, and of course the penny has Abe Lincoln's face on it. It's stuff like that all throughout the movie. You're just like, oh, haha, okay, yeah, that's so creative. I don't know what the big deal with this is. I really don't. There's a lot of short people humor in this movie where they consistently keep using little people as visual gags, and that became incredibly uncomfortable after a while. Even to the point where, and this is in the trailer, one of the kids says that Adam Sandler will get punched or hit by an angry dwarf. And the next night he actually does get hit by some little person who's in a fraternity for little people, because he then jumps into a car that's packed with little people.
And an angry dwarf kicks him.
That whole section of the movie was giving me horrible flashbacks to Under the Rainbow, and that's not a good thing because that movie sucked. Of course, the main character has the token best friend that he can go to and, give exposition dialogue to. And in this case, the best friend is played by Russell Brand, who I don't typically like, but I mean, he was more toned down in this movie, and it's probably because it's not a rated R comedy for him to just, get on there and swear a lot. He's just kind of the random goofy best friend who, he gets along with the kids, and he at one point dresses in a hula skirt with a coconut bra, and he just does wacky things like scream in his sleep. Yeah, I like to chalk that up to Adam Sandler. That seems more like a Adam Sandler, random access comedy thing. His sister's best friend, who's also watching over the kids, is a school teacher of theirs, and of course she's played by Kerry Russell. And it starts off as, at first she doesn't like him, but then gradually she starts to like him. And honestly, I usually like Kerry Russell and things, but Kerry Russell, this entire movie, it seems like she went to the whatever school of acting for this film, because every line she gives, every single delivery has this like, whatever, yeah, okay, kind of like tone to it. And like that never changes all throughout the movie. He's obviously going to be the love interest, but at the beginning of the movie, they try to set it up that Adam Sandler is crushing on Guy Pearce's girlfriend, who's also the daughter of the guy that runs the hotel. And she's supposed to be like a parody of Paris Hilton. She's always in the tabloids, and she's always just at nightclubs and parties and stuff like that. And at first you think that she's gonna end up with Adam Sandler, but then they twist it around and it's actually Kerry Russell, who doesn't like him, but then she does like him. But then there's this whole third act misunderstanding thing where the new hotel they're going to be building is supposed to be built on top of the school that she works at that the kids go to, and they establish that pretty early on, and then you just kind of forget about it for long stretches of time, and then eventually they bring it up at the end when we have to have some conflict for the climax. And she doesn't like him for a while because she thinks that it was his idea, because that's what Guy Pearce said. And so Adam Sandler redeems himself at the end because he goes to the council, which has this girl that he used to go out with, and so she helps them with their situation and says that, oh, that they can't build on top of the school, but they can build instead on the Santa Monica Pier, where there is, totally open land where they can build this. Adam Sandler and Kerry Russell get there on a motorcycle, and then Adam Sandler swings in on a tetherball thing and kicks Guy Pearce in the face, and he's a hero. He saved the school. Hooray. The movie ends with him getting Kerry Russell. The kids now like him again. The little boy kisses a girl that he likes who's like 2 years older than him. Again, that was something they established super early on, and then when you're not even thinking about that, oh yeah, it just miraculously comes into play. It's like, oh, that was a thing you referenced like once earlier in the movie, and now all of a sudden you're paying it off? Okay. And Adam Sandler starts his own hotel, which is more quaint, a lot like what his dad had created years ago before it got bought out. And oh, he made Guy Pearce be his handyman, and some lady that was in cahoots with him is also working there now under Adam Sandler. It's a weird part where Adam Sandler gets a motivational pep talk from his dad's narration, because miraculously his dad just starts narrating out of thin air, and he tells him that he's got to, be the hero of the story and save the day and set things right. And that was just weird. It's like, because the dad was narrating at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, which, by the way, that is a total hack screenwriter thing. If you're going to have narration, either have it be all throughout the movie or not at all. You don't just have it start at the beginning and then at the end. That's lazy. It's just just a neat way to wrap everything up without actually going into anything. But yeah, the narration just comes out of nowhere, and Adam Sandler's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I gotta go down and I gotta go save the day." Going back to what I said earlier, yes, this is more of a Disney movie than an Adam Sandler movie. And while Adam Sandler is just kind of playing a regular guy in this one, he still found ways to do annoying voices. Every time they go into the story worlds, he's doing like a different tone of voice. In fact, the laziest way that they have him do a voice is in the last one, the Star Wars parody one, where the kid says, "Oh, well, he's an alien, so he should have a goofy alien voice." And so Adam Sandler, in the story, as this, rogue Han Solo, Luke Skywalker type of character, then starts talking like this. He does the thing where he's talking out the side of his mouth and hashes a bushy boo. Even when he's just playing a regular guy in movies, he still has to find a way to at least once do an annoying Adam Sandler voice. And there you go.
How can I ever thank you?
I'll take $100 million.
I know what you're probably thinking. You referenced him earlier. How is Rob Schneider in this movie? Well, Rob Schneider does what he typically does in these kind of movies, at least back then. It seems like he can't really do it now, because I saw The Wrong Missy, and he had a cameo in that. And while he was annoying in it, he can no longer do the whole playing ethnic stereotypes thing, which he pretty much did for a majority of his run with Happy Madison. In this case, he plays a big chief Native American, and he literally looks at the screen at one point and says, "I can do it." Good job, Rob Schneider. Good job. You still found a way to crowbar in your catchphrase. That's just that. Oh, that's so good.
You can do it!
Overall, I just chalk this up as another forgettable kids movie with that added annoyance level of just unfunny comedy with Adam Sandler doing what Adam Sandler would typically do, except this time it's by Disney. Then when they actually do the whole grand scale like CG special effects sequences, it's just like, why are you going to do that for this movie? Seriously? You put that much effort into this? And now here's the part of the review where I'd say, oh, well, if your kids want to watch it, then yeah, I'd say let them watch it. But, I wouldn't think the parents would want to watch it. But really, there's so many better kids movies out there. I mean, your kids deserve better. I'm really starting to get sick of the whole excuse of, oh, well, if it's made for kids, then it's okay if it sucks. Because it's like, there are so many better kids movies out there. I mean, there are better family movies made for kids by Disney compared to this. It's like, this is, seriously, this is amateur hour. Like, just put your kids in front of like a Pixar movie or some shit. Like, even Pixar's weakest, excluding Cars 2 and Good Dinosaur and shit like that. Like, those are way better family movies for your kids. This is just like brightly colored images moving around. And at that point, you might as well just put your kids in front of a fucking fish tank or something. Yeah, I think that pretty much makes sense. You just rig your kid up to a fish tank and then let them watch turtles go around for like an hour. And it would be more entertaining than anything that was in this movie.
Oh my god! So we wired her up to the fish tank.
It's not the worst Adam Sandler movie ever. I mean, there are some annoying moments in it, but it's far from the most annoying. I mean, it's no Jack and Jill. It's no That's My Boy. It's nothing like that. I put it more in league with something like Mr. Deeds, where it's just kind of like, okay, it's like it's not the worst thing he's ever done, but I really have no dream of wanting to go back and rewatch this again. So that concludes this month's Blockbuster Show videos. We have 2 more reviews coming up next time. I forget what the second movie is, but the next video is going to be on Hammerhead, which is this really terrible shark movie, because we haven't had enough bad shark movies on Blockbuster Show. We've only done like Shark Exorcist, and I think in one of the movie marathon videos on the second channel, I mentioned Sharknado or something like that. I could be wrong. But yeah, so we're gonna do another bad shark movie next time. So yeah, until then guys, I'm Adam Sykes of the Blockbuster Show, and we will see you guys in the next video.
What the heck is on my head right now?
Bugsy.
Why do you call him Bugsy?
Because of his eyes.
Those would be big on a cow.